As you can see, we've got an amazing group, and it's going to make this discussion a lot of fun. As we dive in, I always think when we're talking about this space, it's good to level set. So I'd love for one of the panelists to kind of take an approach of what is a venture studio and what is co-creation, and how do you think these models differ from traditional incubation? Just one of you jump in.
Happy to define at least how we think about what a venture studio is. For us, it's the combination of a build function plus a source of capital, which is different from a startup studio. That's the build function without capital. You combine that investment ability with the build team, and that becomes a venture studio. And in our view, we like to think about this on a 2x2 in terms of if you've got accelerators, incubators, venture capital funds. And think about the axes on a 2x2 being capital invested and support provided. The original days of venture capital, investors back in the 70s, say when this was all starting, would roll up their sleeves, go sit down at a desk with a telephone with the company they just invested in and get to work. And over time, as venture capital professionalized, that became less true. And so now venture capital is I'd say in some ways more passive, deploying capital professionally, but less involved in the support of the companies. And so you've got, they're all in on putting in capital, maybe less so on support. Incubators and accelerators heavier on support, less so on capital. A venture studio, I think, is deep in both, putting in capital and the support to launch these companies. At High Alpha Innovation, we consider ourselves co-founders in the companies that we're launching. We're deeply involved with the founders we bring in, helping these companies get to scale as quickly as they can. So that's the first part of the question. I didn't talk about the co-creation. I'll let somebody else jump in for that part.
Gotcha. Lizzie, Jason, who wants to take it?
Yeah, I'll take a run at it, right? Given our name is co-created, right? So we think about co-creation a lot, in a lot of the work we do is, I would say, at the heart of it is how are you going to build something with a partner? How are you going to access what the corporate has, which is usually access to insights and access to distribution? How do you take advantage of that kind of, those two key things? Capital is often much easier to find, either sometimes inside the corporate or externally. And so for us, it's at the heart is, okay, how can I get access to those insights? How can I get access to the distribution? And then build a team. And often that team may be a mix of resources from the corporate partner as well as externals to essentially go execute it. So to me, when you say what is co-creation, it's like, how do I take sort of best from the internal, best from the external, bring them together for a higher probability of success on that venture than either one of those by themselves.
Yeah, no, I think both well said. And I think to add on to the co-creation part, in terms of that build versus execute, that's really how we think about it. We have great partnerships both with PGV, Procter & Gamble Ventures, as well as PepsiCo. And the access to, in P&G's case, their incredible IP and their incredible research. It's how do we access that and take the best of that? And then how do we take what we do so well, which is find these great founding teams and then just help them execute at incredible speed and with excellence. I think it's where those two meet and collide that the co-creation differs and becomes something special.